Today, we're diving into a small, kind of unassuming patch of the spring sky to uncover the massive stories hidden inside the constellation Corvus, the Raven.
I mean, seriously, right? How can a simple little box of stars possibly hold the secrets to galactic collisions, the wild chemistry of dying suns, and, well, even ancient tales of betrayal? Let's find out. Corvus isn't a show-off. It's actually pretty small, ranking 70th out of the 88 modern constellations. But you should never, ever let that fool you. This little guy is absolutely packed with astronomical wonders and a history that goes way back to the very first stargazers. Okay, so first things first. Before we can dig into all its secrets, we've actually got to find it. So let's get you set up with a super simple guide to locating this celestial bird. This is a classic trick called star hopping, and it's super easy. First, you find the handle of the Big Dipper. Then you just arc to Arcturus, and from there you speed on to Spica. Got it? Just a little below and to the right of that super bright star Spica, you'll spot this tight, four-sided shape, and bam, that's Corvus. Ancient sailors even had this great nickname for it, Spica's Spanker, because it kind of looks like a sail catching the wind right next to the star. All right, now that we have Corvus in our sights, let's zoom in. We're going to take a much closer look at the actual stars that make up the Raven's body and see what makes them so incredibly unique. So these four stars make up that distinct shape. You've got Gienah, the brightest wing, Cras, a fading giant, Algrib, which is a double gem, and Mincar, the Raven's beak. And trust me, every single one of them has a fascinating story, written in the language of astrophysics. We're talking everything from chemical oddities to stellar evolution happening right before our eyes. So let's kick things off with the brightest of the bunch, Gienah. This star has a very peculiar classification. It's what's called a Mercury-manganese star. So what does that mean? Well, it's not your average star, that's for sure. It means that these really heavy chemical elements, which are usually buried deep inside a star's core, have somehow floated all the way up to its surface. And to put that into perspective for you, Gienah's atmosphere has thousands of times more mercury and manganese than our own sun. It's because its stellar atmosphere is so unusually calm that these heavy elements don't get mixed back down. They just kind of pile up at the top, turning the star into a real chemical factory floating in space. How cool is that? Next up, let's check out Algrib. If you look at it through even a small telescope, it pops into this stunning binary star system. You get a brilliant white main star paired up with a much fainter little orange dwarf. But here's the really amazing part. The main star is incredibly young. We're talking only about 110 million years old, and it's surrounded by a warm dust disk. This means we could literally be witnessing a solar system in the process of being born right now. Okay, now let's push our focus even deeper. Corvus is located away from the really dense, dusty plain of our own Milky Way, which gives us this remarkably clear window into the true vastness of deep space. And believe me, what we can see out there is just spectacular. And the main attraction in this part of the sky is this right here, the Antennae galaxies. This is easily one of the most famous and well-studied objects in the entire night sky. What you're actually looking at isn't one galaxy, but two, and they're locked in a monstrous cosmic collision. This cosmic dance has been going on for over 1 billion years. As these two galaxies pull and tear and shred each other, gravity has flung out these two enormous tails of stars and gas, which just happen to look like an insect's antennae. This collision has also triggered this massive burst of star formation, creating literally millions of new suns.
And here's why this matters to us right here, right now. Astronomers study the Antennae galaxies so intensely because they're basically a preview of our own future. In about 4 billion years, our own Milky Way is on a collision course with the Andromeda Galaxy, and it's going to look a lot like this. Now, don't worry, our solar system will probably just be flung into a new part of the galaxy. It's really unlikely to get hit directly. But for anyone who might be around to see it, it will be the most spectacular light show imaginable. But wait, there's more. Corvus is also home to NGC 4361, a beautiful planetary nebula, which is basically the glowing, ghostly remains of a dying sun-like star. There's also the very peculiar one-armed bandit galaxy, which looks like it's lost one of its spiral arms. And then there's the total mystery of the Corvids, a powerful meteor shower that just flared up for one single night in 1937 and has never been seen again. Okay, so from cosmic collisions, let's zoom all the way back into the human imagination.
Because for thousands and thousands of years, people have looked up at this same pattern of stars and woven the most incredible stories about it. And while the Greek myths are probably the most famous, they were far from the only ones. To the Babylonians, it was a raven, sacred to their storm god. In China, it formed a celestial chariot. And in India, it was known as Hasta, the hand. Just think about that. Different cultures, totally different stories, all inspired by the same four little stars.
The first big Greek myth is a real tragedy. The story goes that the god Apollo fell in love with a mortal princess, Coronis. He trusted his sacred bird, a beautiful raven, with shimmering silvery white feathers and the gift of speech, to watch over her. But it wasn't long before the raven flew back, accusing Coronis of being unfaithful. Blind with rage, Apollo struck Cronus down with an arrow, only to discover way too late that the raven had lied and she had been faithful all along. He managed to save their unborn child, who would grow up to be Asclepius, the god of medicine. But Apollo turned all his fury on the raven, cursing it for its terrible mistake, saying, "Curse you, harbinger of woe. Let your shining plumage turn black as charred wood, in sign of mourning and lies." And he stripped it of its beautiful voice and burned its feathers black forever.
The second myth is pretty cool because it actually explains the constellation's position in the sky. This time, Apollo sends the raven with a cup, that's the constellation Crater, to fetch some water. But the raven got distracted, just lazing about, waiting for some figs to ripen. So to cover for being lazy, it grabs a water snake, Hydra, and blames the snake for the delay. Apollo, of course, saw the lie instantly, and he cast all three of them into the sky as a lesson. And so, the thirsty raven is forever placed right next to the cup of water, but forever blocked from taking a drink by the snake, Hydra. So it's pretty clear that Corvus is so much more than it looks like at first glance. We started with just a simple shape in the sky, and from there we journeyed through bizarre stellar chemistry. We witnessed the mind-blowing collision of entire galaxies, and we explored these ancient, timeless myths of tragedy and punishment. Which really leaves us with one final thought. When we look up at Corvus, are we just seeing four faint stars? Or are we actually looking into a kind of mirror, one that reflects our ancient past in its myths, our cosmic present in its evolving stars, and even our own galactic future in those colliding galaxies? Something to think about the next time you look up at the night sky.